Exhaust, oil spills, fertilizers, and other toxins from industry and human waste have critical impacts not only on our fresh water, but also our seas. Every living thing is dependent on it, yet we continue to poison our water. After the stream flooded on my property, I went to seminars and workshops on restoring stream banks because I wanted my stream to look great again. I learned so much more than just planting. These tutorials reinforced in me the need to be more aware of the toxins in our water and how our planet's natural filtering system just can't keep up with the years of human abuse. I didn't realize before I attended the seminars, and most of you probably don't realize now, to what extent that all of us personally contribute in pouring chemicals into the water. When you do realize, it makes you wonder what everybody's really doing about water pollution. We have made a substantial difference over the years, and researchers have put a lot of time and resources into it. But chemicals are wreaking havoc from the groundwater to the oceans, and its effects are being felt from plant life to human life. More has to be done, or life as we know it will end. You know, I know you're all familiar with the water cycle, so I want you to try to keep that picture in mind while I continue to talk about what we all do to contribute to polluting. We all use and dispose of chemicals every day, releasing them into the ground, and often without realizing it. That shampoo and soap you use, they have chemicals in them, and they go down the drain along with the makeup that was on your face or the lotion you put on your body the day before. Then, of course, there's the obvious, like when you spray your lawn with insecticide, or you use chlorine bleach to do your laundry or scrub your toilet. And speaking of toilets, where does human waste go? In the words of Janet Rayloff, they go in the septic tank or into wastewater treatment facilities, and along with it, some of those medications you've taken. That's right. We all need to shower and scrub our toilets. So our personal care products, along with the fact that some things have to be sanitized, chemicals will inevitably be deposited into the groundwater. We can individually lessen the impact of chemical disposal by first being aware of what we're using and how we use it and how we dispose of it. As I continue, I want to reinforce the impact of human waste on our water. Whether it's personal care products, drugs, or any other form of toxic waste, sometimes the availability of the proper disposal is inconvenient. Or some of you might not know that certain places are set aside to dispose of, like old batteries and old electronics, expired medication, used syringes. I recently interviewed Wendy Patapristi. She's an expert on the health of streams and rivers. And she pointed out that there is a place to bring medications and they will get disposed of properly. I also asked her about septic tanks and wastewater treatment facilities. And she told me that septic tanks are better at filtering because they have a holding tank of sort that gradually let things go into the ground, while wastewater treatment plants actually use chemicals to get rid of some of those chemicals. But she's also said that pharmaceuticals are a different story because they don't get filtered. And in her words, eventually all the chemicals that are in a septic tank, wastewater treatment plant, or in a landfill will take the water cycle and ultimately end up in our lakes, streams, rivers, and oceans. I asked Wendy if she thought we were doing enough research on the water. And she said universities all over the world are doing research. And that's one of the reasons why she's here, is because a local professor, Dr. Shea Tuberty from ASU, did some research on a local waterway. And his report came up with there were certain times a year there was a spike in estrogen levels in the water. If we talk about the impact of just personal care products, Wendy said that the earth could probably filter them. But she also said, in her words, and I quote, "mixed in with all other chemicals that not only have been altered, but are put back into the earth in abundance, is too much for the earth to filter." Wendy brought up that most of the research being done are changing, the fish are changing gender roles, that the actual anatomy of the fish are changing. And then every article I've read about drugs in the water have talked about the feminization of fish and actually the harm on all aquatic life. My final point, I want to talk about some of the largest negative impacts on our oceans. And some of them, like the chemicals from road runoff. And this is perfectly stated by author Kenneth Wise from the book Endangered Oceans, when he said, industrial society is overdosing the oceans with basic nutrients. The nitrogen, carbon, iron, and phosphorus compounds that curl out of smokestacks and tailpipes from fertilized lawns and cropland that seep out of septic tanks and gush from sewer pipes wash into the sea. You know, all this polluting brings about climate change, and climate change will depend on what survives and what doesn't survive. The oceans are our largest body of water, covering most of the Earth's surface. And oceans also provide 16%, approximately 16%, it might have changed, of the world's food supply. Photosynthesis in the oceans provides about half the world's oxygen replenishment. And the oceans play a crucial role in moderating global climate. And according to Spencer Weir in his book, Impacts of Climate Change, increased carbon dioxide levels that come with climate change will affect all biological systems. You know, I was taught in elementary school that the Earth, and especially the oceans, had the ability to bounce back, rejuvenate per se. Well, you know, that may have been true 50 years ago, but it's not true now. You know, we have some invasive plants that are choking out other necessary plant life that serves as food. Now, all those extra chemicals in the water have catastrophic consequences. And, you know, I hope today that my words have given you some unease, because I want you to be more conscious of what the future of our water is going to be. So, in summary, remember the water cycle? Remember it now as not just a water cycle. Remember it as a filtering cycle. It does make a difference on how we get rid of our waste. All those extra chemicals that humans put in the water are hampering this natural filtering system and causing havoc on the food chain. Some things are dying and some things are thriving to the ills. All life, including human, is dependent on the food chain, which is dependent on water. We need to follow through with our research and individually act on it. So, in conclusion, we need to find a way to make people realize that they can make a difference in what's happening to our plant life, our fish, our animals, our climate, and life as we know it, and stop polluting the water. All of us need to go out of our way to dispose of waste properly and lose the attitude of out of sight, out of mind. Remember, small things done on an individual basis, implemented by the masses, makes a huge difference. If we don't find a solution today, the future will have noxious results on society. Our Earth is perfect for us. We do not have an alternative planet to go to. So we need to take care of this beautiful place we call home and show some respect for it.